diving into the NFC East. Team number 4 is the New York Giants. We have a consensus ranking on the Giants. I'm a lot more higher on the Giants, I think, than all of you guys. But we have them at a consensus ranking of 5 and 12. I actually have them at 6 and 11. Not that much higher. But Daniel, we will start with you, man.
I think the Giants are headed in the right direction. I still hate them. I hate every team in this division. Let's just be very abundantly clear about that. I hate you all. I'm not going to say just kidding either. I hate all the teams in this division. I have the Giants down at 4-13 this year. They only had 3 wins last season. They do have a new head coach this year and a GM. Like I had mentioned before, I feel like the Giants are climbing out of a pit that they have been in where they just weirdly struggle. And I say weirdly struggle because they have a lot of talent on their team. They just can't use it for some weird reason. Daniel Jones is a great quarterback, in my opinion. I don't think he's like an all-star quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback, though. He can sling it in there, and he's like weirdly fast. That dude can run. I think the Giants could start making their way back into playoff hunts in the next, I don't want to say next year, but in the next couple of years. I think the Giants will start progressing more toward winning seasons again. I think they're headed in the right direction. This year, unfortunately, is not ready for that. Casey, you might be upset about this, but I have the Giants taking the Colts on New Year's Day in New York. Most teams will have at least one fluke game of the season. Mm-hmm. You guys like to do it at the end of the year. So I gave them that win right before the last game of the season. I got the Giants at 4-13 this year. Steven, we'll go to you.
Yeah. Like you said, the Giants are starting to trend in the right direction for the first time in, I think, a couple of years. If Daniel Jones can improve this year and if Saquon can stay healthy, that offense will be pretty good because they have some good wide receivers. That defense is just a question mark for them, I think, personally. Other than that, they're still... I have them at 5 and 12, so they should be better than last year, but they'll still be bottom feeders of the East.
I only gave them one more win than last year, but they're on proving grounds for me this year.
I do agree with you guys. I definitely think the Giants will be the worst team in the division this year, as I have them going 6 and 11, finishing last in your division. But they also have a lot of question marks. Saquon Barkley hasn't stayed healthy the past few years. Is Daniel Jones the guy in New York? Personally, I don't think so. Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney caught a total of 0 touchdowns last year.
They were both hurt.
You can't lower the bar any lower. I mean, yeah, I know they're both hurt, but
Limbo.
I mean, they both had 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's rough.
They will have some touchdowns this year. Their schedule isn't that difficult this year, but it can be for them. Their division games will tell a lot about this team, and I have them going 6 and 11. Like always, your division games are super competitive, and that's why you guys always get them on prime time. So we'll see what happens.
The NFC East is a toss-up no matter what. Who's on what team? Those games are always a toss-up. It pisses me off.
How many years has it been since there's been a back-to-back winner? Didn't we look this up?
Oh, it was 2003.
2003 is the last time there's been a back-to-back winner.
From 2001 to 2004, the Eagles won every one of those years because I think they had Donovan McNabb and that crazy Eagles team.
They did.
That T.O.
After 2004, there has not been a consecutive division winner in the NFC East.
Cowboys have a chance to change that this year. So
God, I hope so.
But we'll move on to the number 3 team in the NFC East. The Washington Commanders. See, I got the name right, guys. We have a consensus record on the Commanders of 8 and 9. What do the Washington Commanders do in the offseason? Well, I know they didn't get a new owner, so there's that. Wasn't there a rumor that they were going to vote him out in the offseason?
Jerry Jones is not going to give up 2 free wins every year. Let's be honest.
That's true. Yeah, he pretty much runs it. This is a team where I can't put my finger on them, as I just don't know what they're going to do this year. I could see them having a really bad season, and I can see them doing decent and possibly maybe almost making the playoffs. We'll see. But they got Carson Wentz in the offseason from the Colts. Thank you, Washington, for doing that. But on defense, they get Chase Young returning from an injury, and that will help them a lot. They do have a tough schedule, but not knowing what their offense and their defense will do this year, I can't give them a winning record as I have them going 7 and 10. But they are one of those teams that could surprise people this year. So we'll see what they do. We'll see what Carson Wentz does over there in Washington. Daniel, what do you got on the Commanders?
I mean, you're pretty on the nail with it. I think we're in like super agreeance here with they're just a toss-up team. You had Carson Wentz and his broken ankles. They did address some defensive needs this offseason. They didn't get rid of their owner, but Their D line did beef up a little bit. I have them at 9-8. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt and giving them a couple of divisional wins. I have them actually not beating Dallas at any point, but I have them beating Philly in Philly week 10. And then I have them sweeping the Giants because the Giants are only going to win 4 games anyway. So it's just weird, man. That whole organization has been kind of in shambles the past like 3 years with their quarterback situations and the changing of their team names and not figuring out what's going on. I just don't know with them. They'll be one of those teams to just watch throughout the season and see how they play out.
How they perform. Steven, what you got on Washington?
How good are they going to be on offense? I mean, they got Carson Wentz.
Best quarterback they've had in a few years, though.
Yeah, so. And even then, that's still not saying much.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Their reliability went from like 2% to 18%.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty big jump from 2%. So
yeah, the Commanders, I don't know. Like their defense, like the year before, they were the best defense in the NFC East. And last year they were one of the worst. And it's just so hard to hard to get a good gauge on them.
We're gonna move on into the second ranked team here. Second ranked team we have is the Philadelphia Eagles. And our consensus ranking is 11-6. All right, Steven, tell us what you think of the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles, they're much improved from last year. They made the playoffs last year, and they almost gave Tampa Bay a run for their money in that game. We were watching it at the Cowboy game while it was happening, and they got much improved, so they'll be fighting for that division pretty good with the Cowboys this year. I still see the Cowboys pulling it just one game ahead, but it's scary.
The Eagles in the offseason had a great draft by getting Jordan Davis, who is a monster. But they also have the trade of the draft by getting A.J. Brown from the Titans. I think the question mark this year for Philadelphia is Jalen Hurts. Is he Philadelphia's future quarterback? I think he has all the talent in the world to be the quarterback for future years, but we shall see what he does this year and what should be a really good Philadelphia Eagles team. I have them winning the division at 10-7 in a tiebreaker with the Cowboys. These Cowboy-Eagle games are going to be fun to watch on TV.
So, Philly, agreed. Their offseason was nuts. That makes me very upset.
Have fun with A.J. Brown.
Yeah, you got A.J. Brown in there. Got him out of your division, and you're welcome.
We still play him this year, so.
Of the Eagles, I'm terrified, honestly. I'm so scared. I can't say it enough times. I mentioned it earlier in the weeks of our show that the Eagles defense did not perform very well last year. No, but like the turnovers last year that the Eagles did have, they were able to capitalize on. Their defense scored a lot of points last year. I think they will improve this year. I think they will have not a much better defense, but a better defense. Well, no, much better defense. Their offensive line is stacked now. Or their defensive line is stacked now. So their defense should beef up a lot. Anybody that doesn't know who Jordan Davis is, he is a defensive lineman out of Georgia. And I just want to I'm going to look up his size real quick because I want you guys to understand how terrifying this human being is. This dude is 6'6" and 340 pounds of beef.
Imagine that running at you.
Dude is a monster. And he can move. He can move. You make Aaron Donald a grizzly bear, this guy is like polar bear. It's terrifying. Yeah, the Eagles will be really scary this year. I have them going 11-6. They will split the series with Dallas, winning their home game. Dallas will win their home game. I'm terrified to play them.
Let's go to the number one team, which it's the Dallas Cowboys, and we have them at 11-6 consensusly. Steven, I'll let you start.
After watching last night's game, I know preseason doesn't matter, but they looked a little better.
A little.
I mean, they have their future kick returner now in Turpin. I mean, that guy was just amazing to watch last night.
He was good at TCU.
With him, Tony Pollard, waiting for kickoff returns, it's going to be fun to watch kickoffs. But anyways, they did lose a little talent offensively and defensively this year, but they should still be top of the division, I think. But like I said, that Eagles-Cowboys matchup, those are going to be fun to watch, like you said, Casey.
Well, you're Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys lost Amari Cooper to the Browns. You guys overpaid Ezekiel Elliott a few years ago. Do you think he'll return to form this year?
I think he will.
A lot of people have the Cowboys winning their division this year. I think the Eagles are the better team and will snatch it from them, and you will not have a back-to-back winner in the NFC East this year again, however many years it is. I think with some of the teams that you play, your floor could be 8-9, but I definitely don't see that happening, as I have them going 10-7. But I think your ceiling is where you have them, Daniel. They could go 12-5. I think the Cowboys have a talented team, but people shouldn't be surprised if they don't win the division like they think they're going to win. And don't be surprised if they don't win as many games as they think they're going to win. That being said, I have them at 10-7. Daniel, I will let you take the floor.
I'm going to go straight into talking about Zeke real quick because he gets a lot of bad slander, and I don't understand why. He had one bad season 2 years ago when Dak went down and his season just kind of fluked. There's a lot of chemistry built between him and Zeke. They're like brothers, and it like seeing him go down like that, I think it took a lot emotionally out of Zeke, and it took him out of a lot of the games. That's not an excuse for an NFL caliber player. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. He did have a bad season. Having said that, every other season that he has been in the league, he's eaten. He has been fed and he has eaten. Like last year, I think he almost broke 1,000 rushing yards if he didn't. He was also injured. That's why Tony Pollard got so many more snaps. Tony Pollard is a great compliment to having Zeke back there.
He had 1,002 yards.
He had 1,002 yards, 1,000-yard rushing season.
237 attempts.
They ran a lot last year. Zeke was hurt. I think he returns to form this season. He's been working out a lot. He looks like he's lost a lot of weight, and he's leaned out a little bit. I want to take a step here backwards, and I want to be realistic as a Cowboys fan. The Eagles could 100% win the division. There is no questioning that. I don't want to be that guy that says this is our year. Like realistically, I'll say it to fuck with some people because it's funny. The players that the Cowboys lost, I think they filled in a lot of those gaps. Besides the wide receiver position, you're not going to replace an Amari Cooper because he's Amari Cooper and he's just that guy. Crazy wide receiver. I think CeeDee Lamb steps in and fills in the shoes for the wide receiver one. Zeke gets back to form. Tony Pollard compliments him. They have a great rushing tandem season. You have not Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert?
Yep.
The Jalen Tolbert back there. Who was the guy running back kicks yesterday?
Turpin.
Turpin?
Yeah.
Devontae Turpin.
Homeboy ran back
Turpin
a punt
time.
return and a kick return in the same game. 98-yard kickoff return and a 73-yard punt return in the same game. I don't care if it's preseason. It's the NFL. That shit's crazy. So I'm seeing a lot of improvement in Dallas throughout the preseason, just the two short games that they've played. The first game was god-awful. The second game, they took the Chargers down. The Chargers are a really good team. Granted, it is, second and third string players, but that makes me feel very comfortable in having depth in our team. Final thing I want to say about the Cowboys, they have to do two things, as Steven had mentioned before. They have to execute, and they have to get ahead early in their games. There's so many times, and I hate it with all my heart, that the Cowboys fall behind by like 2-3 touchdowns. They find ways to come back somehow. I don't get it.
Guys saw it firsthand in the playoff game last year.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they did not have enough to get back into it. So, there you go. Like, they just need to get ahead of their games and stay ahead because, like we mentioned earlier in this stream, the Cowboys have all the potential in the world. They just need to use it and execute. Go Cowboys. I'm excited for our season. I have them going 12-5. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to believe in them because I am a Cowboys fan. But yeah, go Cowboys.